some vintage lenses I have prepared for you. The Jupiter 11A, the 𝐸1B and the Zenitar 16mm. We are gonna try out how these vintage lenses perform without the turbo lens and how they do with the turbo lens. This is the Jupiter 11A version. It's a very old design. It has some breathing when I try to focus and it doesn't really feel as smooth as it should be, but we'll see the difference now in the contrast and sharpness. And we also have a clear coating. And we're gonna try it now without the turbo lens. Okay, what we see here right now is the Jupiter 11A at the closest focus distance I can have here without the lens turbo. I will now try to focus to infinity slowly. As you see here, color contrast, sharpness, we are almost infinity and now we reached infinity, as you can see here. What we see right now is the Jupiter 11A with the Zhongyi lens turbo, and I noticed that I must go further away from the leaf. I can't go as close anymore to have the same frame. The focus distance changed further around 13 centimeters. And right now I will try to attempt focusing to infinity. Again, check the color contrast, and now I just reached infinity, as you can see. Next lens I'm gonna show you is the 𝐸1B, and as you can see, this is an old cinema lens, and we have a separate aperture ring. Actually, there are two aperture rings, so basically you just set the aperture, which can go a bit hard, and from here on you can just change the aperture, as you can see here when you look to the lens. And from here the aperture can go all to 2.8 till 16. When I click the aperture ring to 2.8, I just can lock it at 2.8 and the other ring won't move anymore. Okay? This actually makes sense if you want to shoot scenes always at the same aperture, but usually I have it around 16, so it gives me full control in which aperture I want to use. The focus ring is also very smooth. And I personally think the 𝐸1B is one of the best quality vintage lenses you can have. It feels great, it's very heavy, and I never had such a smooth control. The only thing what makes it quite hard sometimes maybe is the long focus ring. You see, we just have here the closest minimum focus distance, and now we keep turning. We keep turning. As we keep turning to infinity. It's a long way. We have to turn it, and now we finish. Right now we have here the 𝐸1B without the lens turbo. By the way, all of the lenses I set to f8 to see a proper color contrast. And this is the closest focus distance, and now I will attempt to focus to infinity. The aperture ring on the 𝐸1B is really smooth. It's very hard not to turn it. We see here the color contrast on infinity. The focus is very long. Now it just reached infinity, as you see here. Now we see the 𝐸1B with the Zhongyi lens turbo. And as you can see, I must go further away to have a proper sharpness at the closest focus minimum distance. I will now attempt to focus to infinity. And now it just reached infinity. The next lens I'm gonna show you is the Zenitar K2.8 16mm fisheye lens. It's one of the few vintage fisheye lenses. Of course, manual aperture. We have 2.8 till 22, and we have a focus ring which is very short because you don't focus much on fisheye anyway. But we have a very special glare coating which helps against sun glare, but today we have not much sun, so I can't really show you that. But they say it should also improve color and contrast, so we're gonna check that out too. And the Zenitar has a special feature. Here is a place for color filters. This is just an UV filter here, but you can actually change it to color filters. You probably can buy some on eBay. If you want a black-white portraiture or black-white landscape photography, you probably want to get one of these color filters to get some really nice sky or colors, well, impressions on black and white. And that's it. The build quality is really good, and the lens too feels very heavy. The aperture and the focus ring goes very hard, a little harder than the other ones, but I think it's fine, it's still fine, and it's not really an issue. Now we have the wide-angle fisheye lens Zenitar 16mm without the Zhongyi lens turbo. As you can see, I can go pretty close, and I will now attempt to focus to infinity. It makes no much difference though, a wide angle, almost everything sharp. So I just reached infinity. You see color contrast here. And this is now the fisheye with the Zhongyi lens turbo. Here, the first time I see a real difference in the brightness, and it's much more fisheye. And I will now attempt to focus to infinity. And I just reached infinity. For this lens I will go a few f-stops up to see if the brightness, how it looks similar. Now it looks similar as before. Here we are. So, to our conclusion, after checking out the Zhongyi lens turbo, I first read some reviews from other people who say the vignetting gets worse, but actually I didn't see any of it. If the vintage lens really covers full frame, even at the widest aperture, you shouldn't have vignetting at all. And we checked out now some different focal lengths, and for me personally, I think most sense made the Zenitar, which I could really feel more purpose of that lens turbo, because without it the Zenitar lens felt really dark. It didn't really feel like 2.8, and attaching the lens turbo made the image a lot brighter, giving me opportunity to have a fisheye lens in low light environment, because the 2.8 should probably change to 2 or so, and this makes it a really great lens for such a low price. The Zenitar costs on eBay around $150, so this is nothing compared to other fisheye lenses with an f 2.0. So I think here on this wide angle lens, the Zhongyi lens turbo made really much sense. As for the Zhongyi lens turbo, I think it is a great feature to have this additional 1 f-stop, because most of the vintage lenses the speed is very low, and the lenses itself are actually very great. You get nice images, color, and very good sharpness. The only degradation I could see myself was on the great color contrast from the Jupiter 11A. When you check out the footage from the Jupiter 11A without the Zhongyi lens turbo, I personally think the colors look a little bit nicer than with the Zhongyi lens turbo. But most of the time I think it's negotiable. It doesn't really make much difference, but can actually improve your image in low light a lot. So what's the conclusion? I personally felt a lot of difference when attaching the Zhongyi lens turbo to the other lenses, and especially the ones with the longer focal length. The minimum distance actually increases, and this quite a lot. So on the 135mm, the closest distance was around 30 centimeters, and with the Zhongyi lens turbo I had to increase the distance again almost twice the amount to get as close as possible. So when we keep that in mind, if you want to do close-up shots, the Zhongyi lens turbo might not be the best option for you. Or you want to probably go with the wide angle lens, which can already go very close. But I don't really see much image quality improvement in video photography, because these vintage lenses are already very sharp. But if you want to go that extra f-stop in low light, it's probably a good way to go if you want a fast lens. This was my comprehensive review on these 3 great vintage lenses and on the Zhongyi lens turbo. I think both of them are really great for the price, and please check out the comment section, tell me what you think about them, tell me what you want to see, and subscribe to my channel, and see you soon for more of this kind of stuff. Goodbye.